So next up we have a presentation from VOYPIC, from Jenny and Nicola, who are, if you can't see them, are on screen one. If I ask them to wave, so just notice we have some pop-up stands and it's very hard to make out the real people from the pop-up stands in the background. But Jenny and Nicola are going to give you a little bit of information about our organisation and also talk through some practical examples of resources or tools that they have adapted in their work with younger children. So over to you, girls.
Hi everyone, I'm Jenny and it's lovely to be here today. Welcome, and we just want to let you know a little bit about VOYPIC before we begin. VOYPIC, Voice of Young People in Care, is a charity for children and young people with a lived experience of care in Northern Ireland. We were set up in 1993 by a group of young people in care and professionals, and it's our job to promote the rights and voice of children in care and caregivers. And we want every child in care to have a safe, stable and positive experience of care and to be involved in the decisions about their own lives. We listen, we learn, and together we make changes. So what do we do? Our advocacy service provides specially trained advocates to support children and young people by listening to them and informing them on their rights about being in and moving on from care. Advocates make sure that these young people's voices are heard in care and pathway planning and all the decision-making processes. Our participation service helps young people to connect with other young people who have a lived experience of care through group work, participation forums or activity days for all ages that build their confidence and personal development skills. And then influencing change is about believing that young people are the experts, and it's important that their voices are heard by decision makers. So VOYPIC work alongside other organisations, including the government, to make sure that that happens. So the key messages today that we would like to share with you about working with under 12s are trust, relationship and intent. And we know that children who have experienced trauma are very often mistrusting of adults and very guarded about what they share. And this is why we feel establishing trust is so important with that age group. For us, this is the basis of moving forward with any meaningful work. To build trust, we have to be consistent, creative, create stability and predictability, and go at that child's pace. We need to hold the space for that child and create an environment that feels safe for them. And when it comes to building relationships, as we've mentioned, many children with traumatic backgrounds are hypervigilant, so they are super attuned to body language, tone, and so it's our job to be very mindful of the words that we use and the movements that we use when we're with them to provide reassurance to those children. The initial sessions for us with under 12s are all about building trust and relationship. So getting down on the ground, eye contact, active listening, non-verbals, interaction, playing together. And after a session with an under 12, we are drained because there are so many skills at play. You're listening, you're paraphrasing, you're not taking notes, so you're trying to retain all their information, you're observing, you're exchanging nods, non-verbals, and you're playing and you're having fun together. And finally, we feel that intent is another really crucial aspect of working with children under 12. In our roles as advocates, we must make it clear that we're independent and we're solely there to help those children express their wishes and views and feelings, and it's our job to share that with others. The child is aware of the intent and the purpose, and there's no confusion. It's important that children are aware of the boundaries of your role. And when I was preparing for this and reflecting on my own work with children under 12s, the image of the arcade claw came to mind. And it's a good visual of work with children under 12s because in that game, you don't always get what you're aiming for straight away. It takes time, patience, energy, and sifting through all the other things before you get to your prize. And with under 12s, I feel that you have hours worth of conversations about unicorns, TV shows, wobbly teeth, favourite dinners, school fallouts, and all of that is really important, especially when you can bring it back up to the child the next time. But eventually, you will be able to get to the prize. You will hear, in the midst of all that chatter, some really, really powerful and insightful and meaningful perspectives coming through, the children's wishes and feelings. And it mightn't always be through words, it might come through a picture or a puppet or a song.
So as Jenny has said, the foundation of our work with under 12s is trust, relationship and intent. But we also use a number of tools and resources and creative approaches as well. So one of these tools is the outcome star, which you can see on the screen. So we complete this with all young people coming into VOYPIC. And this tool works well with under 12s. It also covers the key areas of their review meeting as well. You can see their physical health, where they're living, their feelings and their behaviours, their social and emotional, their self-confidence. And you can see that it works really well for our younger children. It encourages young people to explore different areas of their life, and it also introduces them to scaling as well, because you can see there they go from 1 to 5. And we sometimes complement this as well with more creative tools. So for this 10-year-old child, we did it as a starting session, and we looked at a hoodie, and they were able to sign it with the things that were really important to them. So things around computer games, TikTok, social media, and also other things as well, people who were important to them. And this gave us an insight into who they are and to their feelings. We also explored with them their family and friends and their super strengths, and this gave us an insight into their family relationships and also their friend relationships. But it also gave me a way to look and explore their own strengths as well. Some children find it much easier to look at other people's strengths before they look at their own. So you can see then we moved on to looking at the child's superhero strengths as well, which gave us a great insight into their into exploring their confidence and their self-esteem and their feelings and how they felt about themselves. Another tool that we find really useful is a relationship circle, and it can be done in lots of different ways. And it's used to help children explore the key people in their lives and the roles that they play. So an example of that was I did with a young boy who really was struggling articulating his feelings. We had been asked to explore with him how he was feeling about spending time with some previous foster carers. So I used this picture of the Old Trafford ground and had it on a big page for him. He was a big football fan and a big Manchester United fan, and encouraged him to use the whole space of the football pitch. So the young person spent time thinking about every position and who in his life filled it, such as centre forward, defence, who was in the stands, who was in the coaching area. And it really was amazing actually to watch as this young person who struggled with his feelings articulated everybody's key roles in his life with real joy and passion, and was able to say exactly who they were and where they were in his life and the important roles that they had, which otherwise we wouldn't have been able to get, because we used something that really played to his strengths and that he enjoyed. So this resource can be adapted and changed in ways that suit the young person. So this is a really simple version of it that we can use as well, where the child goes in the middle, and again they put their key people in the next circles. Another example is a Lego version, and this can be done in real life as well, and used with actual Lego boards and people, and just giving the children a real opportunity to think about their important people and be able to do it in a creative way, in a way that they can relate to. So another example of work with a young person is again, another young person who was really struggling with their emotions and their feelings, and had very little awareness of basic emotions, even of feeling sad or happy, and unable to see if other people were feeling that way too. So I was exploring with him his feelings on moving school. I printed off a variety of monsters with different faces and different emotions, and tried to avoid those basic emotions of happy faces and sad faces, to get away from that he quite often avoided. As you can see, the young person picked out some of the faces, and as we picked them out, I wrote down some of his feelings, such as not knowing anyone at a new school. He was happy about maybe getting to play football at lunchtime at school. He wanted to pick his own school like he felt other children did, and he wanted to be able to move around a school building like others did. So these were really important things for him, and really important information that we were able then to pass on. So I'm still working with this young person, and recently I met up with him to explore his wishes and feelings before his review meeting. So he has recently moved out of a long-term foster care home, and I wanted to explore with him his feelings on what he wanted now. We started by playing football, because he still struggles with his emotions and being able to articulate how he's feeling. We started off a distance away, quite far apart, and kicked the ball between each other. And as he became more confident with the subject, and more confident about sharing his feelings, we moved closer together, and we started to kick the ball against a wall, back and forward to each other. And this gave him the opportunity to avoid eye contact with me, to take the pressure off the big conversation, and also to allow him to release any frustration and anger that he was feeling as we talked. This allowed me to explore these really big and sensitive topics in a way where he felt comfortable. And he also allowed us to focus on this conversation for much longer than we ever would have done if we were sitting at a table or we were looking at each other. So just another example of how we got that really important information, and how he was really feeling about big areas of his life, and we're able then to pass that on in his review meeting. So just to finish, we spoke to some of our experts at VOYPIC, and we asked them what they felt about the grown-ups who worked with them, and if they had any important advice for them. So those experts were aged from 9 to 11, and they had some really important advice for all the grown-ups out there. So they said that you should be nice, you should be kind, and you should be helpful. They also said, please respect me, even if I am a lot younger than you. And they said to remember to really listen to me, no matter what the cost. And I suppose that really stands out to us, that young people know, whether they're being listened to or whether it's just a service. So the young people are asking to be listened to no matter the cost, and that could be the cost of your time, where you might need to spend a little bit longer, as Jenny said, to listen about wobbly teeth and unicorns, or maybe the cost of a milkshake or something else. And they also said, sometimes I don't want to talk when you visit, and maybe it's just because I want to go out and play or catch up on my homework. So the children explained to us that sometimes they have lots of professionals calling, and sometimes all they want to do is just be like a child and just do their homework so they can go and play later on, or go and catch up with their friends, and not to be offended by that. And they said, treat children the same way that you want to be treated as adults. So there was a big theme for these children about respect and being wanted to be treated as equal, and as the same way as you wanted to be treated yourself. And they said, again, respect everyone, me, my family, and the people who matter to me. So again, treating them as you want to be treated, but also remembering about those really important people in their lives as well, their family, and they're really important people. And lastly, they said it's good to be funny. So they said that they want people to be funny, to have fun, to be relaxed, when you come and engage with them. So we really appreciate your time, and thank you very much for listening to our presentation.